call the meeting to order. We could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Larry Armstrong. Sean Douglas.
Here.
Michael Howry.
Here.
Michelle Hayes.
Here.
Gene Sensi.
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the organizational meeting of January 8th, 2019?
I'll move.
I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Abstain.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Vote is 3-0-1.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 8th, 2019?
I'll move.
I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Michelle Hayes.
Abstain.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Vote is 3-0-1.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 22nd, 2019?
I'll move. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
All right, is there a motion to move into executive session for, we looking at number 5 or 6, Angela?
I think
6.
6.
Okay, is there a motion to move into executive session for the purposes of specialized details of security arrangements where disclosure of matters discussed might reveal information that can be used for the purpose of committing or avoiding prosecution for a violation of law?
I'll move. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
All right. Roll call.
Sean Douglas.
Here.
Michael Howry.
Here.
Michelle Hayes.
Here.
Gene Sensi.
Here.
All right, we'll now open the first public participation portion of the evening. This is on agenda items only. We have 5 minutes to address the board on any item listed on the agenda. If you could please state your name and address for the board. All right, seeing none. Board member reports.
I don't have anything tonight.
I don't either.
Project Unify, I was there for half of it and always inspirational. Real shout out to Principal Fisher and all the students that were involved. I'm encouraged that it didn't die. It just keeps on moving. And it's a great legacy for the Asbell family.
5 years strong. It's in my notes for tonight too, so I'll just piggyback on you for that one because it's always an inspirational morning, and it was nice that Haley was there. Last year she had classes because we had canceled it like 3 times, and so she was there to be recognized on the 5th year anniversary for starting something, because sometimes you're right. Kids will start something and the legacy doesn't catch on or catch that fire. And Project Unify has become, as I've said, a fabric of the school. Yes.
Well, I attended the district swimming championship on Saturday for districts and had a lot of good swims. And there may have been a boy I know that set the new Madison High School record for the breaststroke, my son Colin.
Congratulations.
Brag a little.
So that was fun. And Owen Hennessy sang the national anthem at districts. I mean, there must have been, it seems like 2,000 people or so there.
Wow.
And, the entire natatorium was full. Of course, my seat was reserved at the very tippy top in the humid section when it's about 15 degrees warmer than it should be. That was where I got to sit. No special seating for me, I'll tell you that. So that was fun. Anyone else? Reports and recommendations of the treasurer.
Thank you. I only have one item to report on that is not on the agenda. Just an update for the board. The school district receives reimbursement from Medicaid for services that we provide to eligible students with special needs. And because we receive those funds, we are audited every year on the costs that we bill back to Medicaid. It's actually pretty extensive. They look at IEPs, they look at the services being provided, they look at for parental consent, they look at the notes of the providers, they look at the cost that we're charging. And so it takes a couple of months for them to grind through all that information. And then we file a cost report, they audit that cost report, then they file something with the state. Happy to say that for fiscal year 2017, which is a year and a half ago ending, they did the report, and of everything they tested, there was no issues. So special ed staff continues to do a great job making sure that when we do bill that, we have all the support that we need so we don't have to pay back. You also know that we have changed companies that bill Medicaid. So some of the stuff that was a little harder to get for that audit in 17 will be a little bit easier in 18 and 19 because of the new company. We are seeing a slight uptick in the special ed Medicaid reimbursement because of that system. And with their help, I filled out an indirect cost that we can also bill some administrative costs to Medicaid for the services being provided. So that seems to be working real well. So I don't know when they'll start fiscal year 18, but some part of my office is constantly under audit. So we're just wait for the next team to come on in. So I can get you a copy of the report if you want. It is as boring as a regular financial audit, but if you'd like to read it, I can email you a copy.
Okay.
So on to the items that are in the agenda. The first item is to approve the financial reports for all funds, the fund-to-fund transfer report, and the check payment register for January 2019.
I'll move. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Michael Howry?
Yes.
Michelle Hayes?
Yes.
Gene Sensi?
Yes.
Sean Douglas?
Yes.
Vote is 4-0. And the next, we bring you 403B and providers from time to time. It's like a 401k, but in a school district, you're a 403B provider. And when actually we are working with a new company, or going to be working with a new company to administer our retirement plans. It's no cost to the district, it's no cost to the participants, but it just puts a little more formality to a process which is now becoming a little more heavily audited by the IRS. I was starting to feel a little uncomfortable that the school district's exposure is growing every year under the new rules. So we're hooking up with a company called TSA Consulting Group. They're recommended by the Ohio Association of School Business Officials. And so as part of that, we're rolling all of our current providers over to them. Our employees will still have the same access to VALIC or AXA or any of the other groups. Except, but in doing that, we noticed we had two providers that had 0 participants. One we approved, actually in 2016 was the last approval, but we can't start anything until they have 5. Well, he only had 1. So we've had a salary reduction agreement for 2 years from this company. Haven't been able to enact it. We're taking them and the other company that has 0 people off the list. So that's why you're seeing people being removed. So to remove Aspire and Midwest Annuity and Investment Company from the eligible 403B provider list for the Madison local schools.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Michelle Hayes?
Yes.
Gene Sensi?
Yes.
Sean Douglas?
Yes.
Michael Howry?
Yes.
Vote is 4-0. The next item is, again, bidding buses through the Ohio Schools Council. We bid through them because we don't have to pay for the bidding notice in the paper, and when 100 and some school districts bid buses together, the manufacturers seem to sharpen their pencil a little more than if Madison goes out and bids one bus of one type and one of another. Again, we're looking at either a 78 or a 45, and when the bids come in, we'll see which one makes more sense based on cost and needs of the fleet. That's why we have 2 together. So approve the Ohio Schools Council cooperative advertising and receiving bids for the school bus chassis and bodies as listed in the agenda.
I'll move. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0. And finally, to accept a generous donation of crafts supplies from Sarah Knowles to South Elementary School Grief Group to be used for craft activities. A generous donation of school supplies from Madison Seventh-day Adventist Church to South Elementary School to be used as needed. A generous donation of school supplies from Madison Seventh-day Adventist Church to North Elementary School to be used as needed. And a generous donation of a Promethean board and various accessories from Jennifer and Mike Willis to Madison High School for classroom use. And finally, a generous donation of $500 from Great Day Child Care to North Elementary School to be used as needed.
I'll move. Second.
Any discussion?
I just love our community. They're always extremely generous. Every meeting, I say this because every meeting we are accepting more and more donations. So thank you very much to everyone who donated.
What's a Promethean board?
It's like a smart board. Another
Okay.
name.
Glad you asked.
Brand.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh. Roll call?
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Report to the administrative team.
All right, well, we had another Business Advisory Council meeting last week. It was a small group, but we came up with a couple good things. And one of the things is we wanted to focus on a project that we could do this year. So I brought up the idea of getting members of the Business Advisory Council and possibly Key Club and maybe some other student groups to go over to 68 Hours of Hunger and pack the food bags. It would, have that combined presence, show the business community some of the things that are happening for our kids, and help support 68 Hours of Hunger. And then next year really focus, we came up with a whole theme of career readiness at all levels, at the elementary, middle, and high school. And I saw yesterday, I think it was a tweet, or it might have been an email, but Chardon is having a career fair next month, so I thought maybe take a couple business advisory people, Jean, and we could go to the career fair and see how they set it up and how their day was organized to get ideas for ours for next year. So I'm excited about the work that they're doing, and I asked Bill Mayer and Jack Whaley to be a part of that team because they do get a lot of donations for their buildings, and instead of having just individual building contributions, come up with a sort of a umbrella model that will benefit all the schools. And so they're a part of that committee now and working. And it's another way to get them some other experiences outside the building. Parent-teacher conferences are wrapping up. High school conferences are, I do believe, Thursday evening this week, as well as the elementary conferences are also Thursday evening because they were rescheduled from our cold days. But then that will be the last official parent conference nights of the year. Of course, at any time parents can call and arrange a conference with their child's teacher, but these are the last official ones. ACT test day is Tuesday at the high school, so juniors will be there, sophomores will be there, seniors that have some credit recovery to do. Freshmen are the only group that aren't scheduled to report at all on Tuesday, and seniors that have met all their graduation requirements do not have to report. Dave and Jan Mauer here in this building, as well as the high school counselors and administrators, have been working really hard because they're taking the ACT online this year. So we're going to see how this all works and see how the scores, if the scores stay the same, improve, if our kids have a better advantage doing it online. But there's been a lot of hours put into this project, and I'll let Dave talk about it for a little bit after I get through the rest of my report, during his report. Lake County Spelling Bee is also Thursday evening, so our winner, help me with the name again.
Mr. Marlowe.
Mr. Marlowe Yes, from across the street from North
Lucas.
Elementary.
Lucas, thank
Lucas,
you.
yes, thank you. Lucas Marlowe will be competing at the Lake County B. I think he's got a good shot to do very well because he studies pretty hard, so it'll be interesting to see how far he goes in that evening. And then if he were to win there is the Regional B, which I think is Lake and Geauga counties combined, of the top people there. And then on and on until you get to go to Washington, if that's the case. Our student artists did very well at the high school in the LEAF Umbrella Contest. LEAF is the group that provides college and career advising or financial aid advising to our students and throughout the region. And they had this contest for a fundraiser this year where each building had students design on a different umbrella. And 3 out of 4 of ours made the top 35 in the region. So that's pretty exciting. And then we found out this week that Michelle will be celebrating 10 years on the board.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Michelle for her 10
Congratulations.
years on the board. We're planning on going to the dinner on the 25th. All are welcome to join us. It is during spring break, but we're going to take a road trip to Warren and see her get a reward. And he will also come out here and present as well. We just have to tell him, give him a couple options. But 10 years, that's a public service. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. When he comes out, I think I'm going to take him to dinner because I'd like to sit and talk with him about some of the other options that are available as well. Back up, on Tuesday, my freshman is not required to come to school.
You got a letter in the mail, I do know that.
Boy, you know what? I don't remember that letter, but we just had this argument, and I said, you are not getting over on me. When he's trying to tell me he doesn't have to go to school on Tuesday, and I'm like, you are not getting over on me. That's not happening. You're going to school. And now I'm going to have to go home and eat
I put
crow.
it on record that he doesn't, freshmen are the only ones that have no requirements at all on Tuesday.
Did you know your kid didn't have to go to school on Tuesday?
News to me.
Hey, the letters, I saw the letters, they went out in the mail.
Everyone else at the house is celebrating, I'm sure, but I still have to get up and go to work. So.
You're the last to know.
Right. Angela, so you said LEAF, tracks these college scholarships and tuition assistance and those kind of things?
Yeah.
Do we do anything locally with that? I mean, I
There
know.
are the lady, Debbie Dayton's been there for years. She comes to the building, I don't know if it's 1 day a week, 2 days a week, but she's there and she meets with every senior to go through that process.
So does she, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Does she reach out to each and every senior, or are the seniors given the option to approach
I
her?
think she sends out information and then she calls down seniors. and
Okay.
That's part of her job.
You just hear different groups talking about how they have scholarship opportunities, don't get a whole lot of applicants.
They don't, and but the scholarships are posted on a website, and I just, because an opportunity became aware the other day, and somebody said, well, we posted on the website. So I think one morning, I'm going to have Mr. Fisher call these seniors down, and I'm going to encourage, especially those top kids, so that we have more of an applicant pool. Because I know as I helped look at a couple of the scholarship applications, some years I get maybe 5 applicants for a $1,000 scholarship.
Right.
So,
I know the library has them. I mean, there's different churches have them, and,
Right.
and you'll find out 3 kids applied for
right.
$1,000.
All they have to do is,
Yeah.
and if you get really savvy in the process, just tweak that essay, because
Sure.
the young man that won a lot of scholarships last year, as I started to hear the requirements, because he won the one that I've always helped to judge, it was the same letter, just tweaked a little bit. Yeah.
So he did it really well once,
Yeah.
and then tweaked it.
Yep.
Okay,
Nice.
And technology does help you do that.
sure.
Definitely.
So do you want to talk any more about ACT?
Oh, just ACT is really the kickoff to testing season. We did some training with the high school staff this morning on accessing and using the online interface. It is a challenging system, but I think they're going to be ready. And then we'll roll into testing really right after spring break into April and May. It fires up, so that will consume the remainder of the year.
I know the library offered a prep program.
ACT prep?
Yeah.
And we have a couple of our high school teachers who were involved in that, and they've also done some work within their department meetings, sort of helping all of the teachers to find ways to embed practices in their regular daily teaching that will help kids to be more successful on the ACT. So
My son took that, and he thought it was very helpful.
that's
Okay.
All right. So under recommendations this evening, under the personnel motion, we're asking you to accept the retirement resignation of Brian D. Tittman, maintenance, effective February 28th, 2019, after 30 years of service. We're asking your approval for the unpaid leave request of Micheline Guerrero, Madison Middle School art teacher from April 26th through May 28th, and if necessary, beyond the unpaid leave date, but I think that's the last day of school, so I don't think there will be any days beyond that. The board, we're asking you to enter into the following employment contracts. Casual days to today's substitute, Brian Schlee, to employ Diane Carswell under a long-term substitute teacher contract from March 6, 2019 through May 28, 2019 to perform the duties of Micheline Guerrero. The following non-certificated persons under a one-year limited personal service contract for the 2018-19 school year: William Alexander Jr., MHS JV softball coach, to employ Norman Watts as a part-time technology specialist for 236 days at $10 per hour, effective February 7th, 2019. And that's the personnel motion.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howry?
Yes.
Michelle Hayes?
Yes.
Gene Sensi?
Yes.
Sean Douglas?
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
And then in item B, we're asking you to approve the amended shared services technology agreement between Madison Local School District and the Auburn Joint Vocational School District beginning February 1st, 2019. And then along that, to approve the revised monthly supplemental contract amounts for the following employees to be performed under the amended shared technology services agreement between the Madison Local School and Auburn Vocational School District, beginning with Robert Cerruti and ending with Tori Wickfield.
I'll move.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michelle Hayes?
Yes.
Gene Sensi?
Yes.
Sean Douglas?
Yes.
Michael Howry?
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
And then we're asking for your approval of the retirement resolution for Brian Tippin.
I move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you to Brian for 30 years of service.
And congratulations.
Enjoy your retirement.
Roll call?
Gene Sensi?
Yes.
Sean Douglas?
Yes.
Michael Howry?
Yes.
Michelle Hayes?
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
And we have nothing on the consent calendar this evening.
Okay. Now open the second public participation portion of the evening. This is for anyone to address the board on any item. You have 5 minutes to address the board. If you state your name and address, please. All right.
Bill Walton, 7294 Ross Road. You mentioned school buses. The school buses seem, I don't know, to me, large. I mean, so are we required to buy a certain type of bus? Or is this, the buses that are made, they're just made in this size and that's it?
They are made in certain sizes. The buses that we buy are either conventional, meaning they're not the flat front. And they come in 71, 72 passengers based on the size of the final back seat. We buy 72s. Or we buy conventional, which is a flat front, which is easier to get around the tight turns, especially in this area of the district. They come in 77, 78, we buy 78s. The 54s that we buy are actually going to be handicap buses. We'll fit them with a lift. And may surprise you, but a 54 with a lift is actually more expensive than a 78 conventional. So to go down in size really doesn't save you any money, but it limits the capabilities and the practicality of that bus. A 78 you can put on any non-special ed route. A 54 with a lift is pretty limited. A 54 without a lift is limited, and you really don't save any money.
I was just wondering, if the manufacturers are required to make the buses in these sizes. I mean, I'm looking at like making a smaller container, to carry these passengers. I mean, all buses, even the public transportation buses are huge. I just wondered why they've always been this size. If they couldn't manufacture them in smaller sizes and, get a better fuel.
Well, you look at what you would save in a 78 passenger bus, that's assuming 3 kids in a seat. And at the high school level, that doesn't really work. So you're cutting your capacity down by a third. You can buy, I think there's something in the 60 range, but if you buy too many smaller buses, you're putting more buses on the road, and we don't have enough drivers as it is. And there goes your fuel savings. And I think the engine sizes are about the same. I'm not sure. It's obviously a little bit less weighty on the larger ones, but I don't think it's significant enough to go down in size and risk having to put a whole nother bus out there.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Anyone else wishing to address the board? All right. Consider the second public participation portion of the evening closed. We have a need to move into executive session again. Which number?
It would be under number 1.
All right. Is there a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public employees or regulated individuals, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee or regulated individual, unless such person requests a public hearing?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
John Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
All right. Stand in recess.